In the vast expanse of the Galactic Council chamber, representatives from countless alien species gathered, their voices echoing with fear and desperation. Among them stood Ambassador Mayala of the Velaran Confederacy, her delicate features etched with worry as she addressed the council. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, Mayala began, her voice trembling slightly, I come before you today with grave news. The Krell, our ancient enemy, have broken through our defenses and are now laying waste to our worlds. Our fleets are no match for their advanced weaponry, and our people are dying by the millions. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices, each representative expressing their own fears and concerns. High Counselor Zalos, an ancient being with wisdom gleaming in his eyes, raised a gnarled hand to silence the crowd. Ambassador Mayala, Zalos spoke, his voice calm yet commanding, what is it that you propose we do? Our combined forces have never been able to stand against the Krell. Mayala took a deep breath, steeling herself for what she was about to say. There is one option left to us, High Counselor. A species we have long avoided contacting due to their volatile nature and the dangers of their homeworld. I speak of the humans. A collective gasp rippled through the chamber, followed by a burst of murmurs and whispers. The humans were a legend, a myth spoken of in hushed tones. They hailed from a planet so harsh and unforgiving that it had been deemed a death world by the Council. Earth, as it was called, was a place where only the strongest and most adaptable could survive. Zalos leaned forward, his brow furrowed in concern. The humans are unpredictable, Ambassador. Their world has shaped them into a species unlike any other. Contacting them could bring even greater chaos to our galaxy. Mayala met Zalos' gaze, her eyes filled with determination. With all due respect, High Counselor, we have no choice. The humans are our only hope. Their strength, their resilience, and their indomitable spirit may be the very things that can turn the tide against the Krell. The council members exchanged glances, each weighing the gravity of the situation. They had heard tales of human bravery, of their ability to overcome insurmountable odds. But they had also heard of their aggression, their tendency towards violence. I propose we send a distress call to the humans, Mayala continued, her voice growing stronger. We must beseech them for aid, for without their help, the Velaran Confederacy and countless other civilizations will fall to the Krell. Zalos closed his eyes, his mind racing with the potential consequences of such an action. After what seemed like an eternity, he opened his eyes and addressed the council. Ambassador Mayala is right. We have no other recourse. We must send the distress call and pray that the humans will answer. With heavy hearts and a glimmer of hope, the Galactic Council agreed. They knew they were about to embark on a path that could either lead to their salvation or their destruction. The fate of the galaxy now rested in the hands of the humans, a species they had long feared and admired from afar. As the council members dispersed, Mayala stood alone, gazing out at the stars beyond the chamber's viewport. She whispered a silent prayer to the cosmos, hoping that the humans would hear their plea and come to their aid. For in this darkest hour, the Velaran Confederacy and the entire galaxy needed a miracle, and that miracle could only come from the most unlikely of places, a tiny blue planet called Earth. Captain Emma Johnson sat in her quarters aboard the USS Indomitable, a massive battleship that served as the pride of the Earth Defense Fleet. She stared intently at the holographic display before her, reading and rereading the distress call that had just been received from the distant reaches of the galaxy. The message was clear. The Velaran Confederacy, a peaceful alliance of alien civilizations, was under attack by a ruthless enemy known as the Krell. They were begging for help from the humans, a species they had long avoided due to the violent reputation that preceded them. Emma leaned back in her chair, her mind racing with the implications of the distress call. She knew that the decision to intervene in an interstellar conflict was not one to be taken lightly. Earth had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel, and their interactions with alien species had been limited at best. A knock on her door stirred Emma from her thoughts. "Enter," she called out, straightening her uniform as she stood to greet her visitor. Commander Michael Davis, Emma's second-in-command, stepped into the room, his face etched with concern. "Captain, I assume you've seen the distress call?" Emma nodded, gesturing for Michael to take a seat. "I have, and I've been giving it a lot of thought. What's your take on the situation?" Michael sat down, his brow furrowed. "It's a risky move, Captain. We know next to nothing about these Krell, and getting involved in a war that's not our own could have serious consequences." "True," Emma acknowledged, "but can we really sit back and do nothing while innocent lives are lost? The Velerans came to us for help. That has to count for something." Michael sighed, running a hand through his short, dark hair. "I understand where you're coming from, Captain. But we have to consider the safety of our own people as well. The Indomitable is a formidable ship, but we've never faced an enemy like the Krell before. Emma walked over to the viewport, gazing out at the vast expanse of space. She knew that Michael was right, but there was something deep within her that couldn't ignore the plea for help. The very essence of what it meant to be human, to stand up for what was right, burned brightly in her heart. We took an oath, Michael, Emma said softly, turning to face her second-in-command. To protect and defend, not just our own people, but all those who cannot defend themselves. The Velerans are facing annihilation, and we may be their only hope. Michael stood up, his posture straightening as he met Emma's gaze. You're right, Captain. We have a duty to uphold, and if we turn our backs on those in need, what does that say about us as a species? Emma smiled, grateful for Michael's support. Then it settled. We'll take the Indomitable and head for Veleran space. We'll assess the situation and do whatever we can to help. As Michael left to relay the orders to the crew, Emma took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenges that lay ahead. She knew that the decision to intervene could have far-reaching consequences, but she also knew that it was the right thing to do. Over the next few hours, the USS Indomitable buzzed with activity as the crew prepared for their mission. Engineers double-checked the ship's systems, ensuring that everything was in top working order. Pilots ran flight simulations, familiarizing themselves with the potential combat scenarios they might face. Medical staff stocked up on supplies, ready to treat any injuries that might occur. As the final preparations were made, Emma stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the viewscreen before her. She watched as the stars stretched into long lines of light, signaling the activation of the Indomitable's faster-than-light drive. Course laid in for Veleran space, Captain, the navigation officer reported, his fingers dancing across the console. Engage, Emma ordered, her voice steady and confident. The Indomitable surged forward, its powerful engines propelling the ship through the fabric of spacetime. The crew held their breath as the stars streaked past, each lost in their own thoughts about the mission that lay ahead. In the depths of the ship, a group of Marines sat in the army, checking and double-checking their weapons. They knew that they might be called upon to fight on the ground, to face the Krell in close-quarters combat. Among them was Sergeant Olivia Thompson, a seasoned veteran who had seen her fair share of battles. Olivia looked around at her fellow Marines, sensing the mix of excitement and apprehension that hung in the air. Listen up, she said, her voice cutting through the tension. We're heading into unknown territory, facing an enemy we've never encountered before. But remember, we're the best of the best. We're the Earth Defense Fleet, and we don't back down from a fight. The Marines nodded, their faces set with determination. They knew that they were the last line of defense, the ones who would be called upon to protect the innocent and fight the Krell head-on. As the Indomitable hurtled through space, Emma sat in her quarters, reviewing the limited information they had on the Krell. The reports painted a grim picture of a ruthless, technologically advanced species that showed no mercy to those who stood in their way. Emma knew that the odds were stacked against them, but she also knew that the human spirit was a force to be reckoned with. Throughout history, humanity had faced countless challenges and emerged stronger for it. They had endured wars, plagues, and natural disasters, always finding a way to adapt and overcome. A chime sounded, indicating an incoming transmission. Emma activated the holographic display, revealing the face of Ambassador Mayala. The Veleran's delicate features were etched with worry, but there was a glimmer of hope in her eyes. Captain Johnson, Mayala greeted, her voice trembling slightly. I cannot express how grateful we are that you have answered our call for aid. The Krell are relentless, and our forces are being pushed back on all fronts. Emma nodded, her expression serious. We'll do everything in our power to help, Ambassador. The Indomitable is en route to your location, and we'll be there as soon as possible. Mayala clasped her hands together, a gesture of gratitude. Thank you, Captain. Your bravery and willingness to come to our aid will not be forgotten. The Veleran Confederacy is in your debt. As the transmission ended, Emma leaned back in her chair, her mind already formulating strategies and contingency plans. She knew that the battle ahead would be unlike anything they had ever faced, but she also knew that the human spirit was indomitable. With a deep breath, Emma stood up and made her way to the bridge. She stood tall, her eyes fixed on the viewscreen as the Indomitable raced through the stars. The ship was a beacon of hope, a symbol of humanity's unwavering determination to stand up for what was right. Attention all crew, Emma spoke, her voice ringing out through the ship's intercom. We are about to enter Veleran space and engage the Krell. I know that this mission is unlike anything we've faced before, but I have faith in each and every one of you. We are the Earth Defense Fleet, and we will not falter in the face of adversity. We will stand together, fight together, and emerge victorious. For Earth, for the Valoran Confederacy, and for all those who cannot defend themselves. Let's show the galaxy what humanity is capable of. As the crew cheered, their voices echoing through the ship, Emma felt a surge of pride and determination. She knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but she also knew that the human spirit was unbreakable. With the Indomitable leading the charge, they would face the Krell head-on and fight for the freedom and survival of the Valoran Confederacy. The stars streaked past the viewscreen, a reminder of the vast distances they had traveled and the even greater challenges that lay ahead. But Emma knew that no matter what the future held, the human spirit would endure. For in the face of adversity, humanity had always found a way to rise above, to stand tall and fight for what was right. And so, the USS Indomitable raced towards its destiny, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of not just Earth, but of an entire galaxy. The battle against the Krell would be fierce, but with the strength of the human spirit and the unwavering determination of its crew, the Indomitable would stand as a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. As the USS Indomitable dropped out of faster-than-light travel, the crew was greeted by a sight that sent shivers down their spines. The once mighty Valoran fleet lay in ruins, its ships shattered and drifting aimlessly in the void of space. The Krell had left nothing but destruction in their wake, and the Indomitable had arrived in the midst of the chaos. On the bridge, Captain Emma Johnson stood tall, her eyes fixed on the viewscreen as she assessed the situation. The Valoran ships were in disarray, their hulls breached and their crews struggling to survive. It was a grim reminder of the ruthlessness of the Krell and the desperate need for human intervention. "Scan for life signs," Emma ordered, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "We need to know if there are any survivors out there." The bridge crew sprang into action, their fingers dancing across consoles as they searched for any signs of life amidst the wreckage. Moments later, a sensor officer spoke up, his voice tinged with hope. "Captain, we're detecting life signs on several of the Valoran ships. They're weak, but they're there." Emma nodded, a determined look in her eyes. "Prep the rescue teams and have them stand by. We're going to do everything we can to save as many lives as possible." As the Indomitable moved closer to the devastated Valoran fleet, a sudden spatial distortion caught their attention. The fabric of space itself seemed to twist and warp, and a massive rift tore open before them. From the depths of the rift, a ship emerged, unlike anything the human crew had ever seen. The Krell vessel was a behemoth, its hull a twisted mass of dark metal and pulsing energy. It dwarfed the Indomitable in size, and its weapon systems glowed with an ominous light. The mere sight of it sent a chill through the human crew, but they stood their ground, ready to face the enemy head-on. "Red alert!" Emma shouted, her voice ringing out through the ship. "All hands to battle stations. This is it, people. The Krell are here, and we're not backing down." The Indomitable's weapon systems came online, its mighty cannons and missile launchers ready to unleash hell upon the Krell. The human ship moved to intercept the enemy, its engines roaring as it closed the distance. On the Valoran flagship, Ambassador Mayala watched in awe as the Indomitable charged towards the Krell vessel. She had heard stories of human bravery and their indomitable spirit, but to see it firsthand was something else entirely. The humans were willing to risk everything to protect the Valoran Confederacy, and that realization filled Mayala with a newfound sense of hope. As the two ships closed in on each other, the Krell vessel opened fire, its weapons slicing through the void with deadly precision. The Indomitable's shields flared to life, absorbing the brunt of the impact, but the human ship pressed on, undeterred by the onslaught. "Fire all weapons," Emma commanded, her voice filled with steely resolve. "Give them everything we've got." The Indomitable's cannons roared to life, sending bolts of searing energy towards the Krell ship. The enemy vessel's shields shimmered under the barrage, but they held fast, a testament to the Krell's advanced technology. The battle raged on, the two ships exchanging fire in a deadly dance of destruction. The Indomitable's crew worked tirelessly, their skills and training put to the ultimate test as they fought against an enemy that seemed to outmatch them in every way. But the humans refused to give up. They fought with a tenacity and determination that the Krell had never encountered before. The Indomitable weaved through the enemy fire, its pilots displaying incredible skill and bravery as they pushed the ship to its limits. In the midst of the chaos, a team of human Marines prepared to board the Krell vessel. Led by Sergeant Olivia Thompson, they armed themselves with the latest in human weaponry and donned their battle armor, ready to take the fight to the enemy. As the Indomitable drew closer to the Krell ship, the Marines launched their assault pods, rocketing towards the enemy vessel with reckless abandon. They crashed through the Krell's hull, breaching the ship's defenses and spilling out into the dark corridors beyond. The Marines fought their way through the Krell ship, their weapons blazing as they faced off against the enemy in close-quarters combat. The Krell were formidable opponents, their armor thick and their weapons deadly, but the humans refused to back down. Olivia led the charge, her rifle spitting fire as she took down Krell warriors one by one. Her fellow Marines followed suit, their bravery and skill matched only by their determination to see the mission through. As the battle raged on, both in space and within the Krell ship, the tide began to turn. The Indomitable's relentless assault was taking its toll on the enemy vessel, its shields weakening under the constant barrage of human weaponry. Inside the Krell ship, Olivia and her team fought their way to the bridge, determined to take out the enemy command center. They burst onto the bridge, weapons at the ready, and found themselves face to face with the Krell leader. The Krell commander was a fearsome sight, towering over the humans in his battle armor. But Olivia and her team didn't hesitate. They opened fire, their weapons tearing through the commander's defenses and sending him crashing to the ground. With the Krell leader defeated, the enemy ship began to falter. Its weapon systems went offline, and its engines sputtered and died. The Indomitable seized the opportunity, unleashing a final volley of weapons fire that tore through the Krell vessel's hull. As the Krell ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light, the Indomitable emerged victorious. The human crew cheered, their voices echoing through the ship as they celebrated their hard-fought victory. On the Valoran flagship, Ambassador Mayala watched in stunned silence as the Indomitable stood tall amidst the wreckage of the Krell vessel. Tears streamed down her face as she realized that the humans had done the impossible. They had defeated the Krell and saved the Valoran Confederacy from certain destruction. As the Indomitable moved to assist the surviving Valoran ships, Captain Emma Johnson stood on the bridge, her eyes filled with a mix of pride and relief. She knew that the battle had been won, but the war was far from over. The Krell would undoubtedly return, seeking revenge for their defeat. But for now, the human crew could take solace in the fact that they had made a difference. They had answered the call for help and had proven that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. They had shown the galaxy the true meaning of the indomitable human spirit. As the Indomitable set course for the Valoran homeworld, ready to assist in the rebuilding efforts, Emma knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult. But she also knew that with the strength and determination of her crew, and the unwavering support of the Valoran Confederacy, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. For in the face of adversity, the human spirit had always proven itself to be unbreakable. And with the Indomitable leading the charge, the galaxy would soon learn the true power of human resilience and courage. The battle between the USS Indomitable and the Krell raged on, the two ships locked in a deadly dance of destruction. Captain Emma Johnson gripped the armrests of her chair, her knuckles turning white as the Indomitable shook under the relentless barrage of enemy fire. On the bridge, the crew worked tirelessly to keep the ship operational, their faces etched with determination and fear. The Krell were unlike any enemy they had ever faced before, their technology far surpassing anything the humans had encountered. Shields at 30%. Lieutenant Olivia Thompson shouted over the din of battle. "We can't take much more of this, Captain." Emma gritted her teeth, her mind racing as she tried to formulate a plan. The Indomitable was a formidable ship, but even it had its limits. They needed to find a way to turn the tide, to strike a decisive blow against the Krell. "Divert all available power to the weapon systems," Emma ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. "We need to hit them with everything we've got." The crew sprang into action, their fingers flying across consoles as they rerouted power from every available source. The Indomitable's cannons glowed with renewed energy, ready to unleash a devastating barrage upon the Krell. "Fire!" Emma shouted, her voice ringing out through the bridge. The Indomitable's weapons roared to life, sending bolts of searing energy towards the Krell ship. The enemy vessel's shields flared under the onslaught, but they held fast, a testament to the Krell's advanced technology. But the humans refused to give up. They fought with a tenacity and determination that the Krell had never encountered before. The Indomitable weaved through the enemy fire, its pilots displaying incredible skill and bravery as they pushed the ship to its limits. In the midst of the chaos, a glimmer of hope emerged. The Krell ship's shields began to flicker, weakened by the constant barrage of human weaponry. Emma seized the opportunity, ordering a full-scale assault on the enemy vessel. The Indomitable surged forward, its engines roaring as it closed the distance between the two ships. The human crew poured every ounce of their strength and determination into the fight, their weapons blazing as they struck at the Krell's weakened defenses. On the Krell ship, the enemy crew scrambled to maintain control, their systems failing under the relentless human assault. The Krell commander, a fearsome warrior with a reputation for ruthlessness, snarled in frustration as he watched his ship's defenses crumble. But the humans would not be denied. They fought with a ferocity that the Krell had never seen before, their bravery and skill matched only by their unwavering determination to emerge victorious. As the battle raged on, the tide began to turn. The Krell ship's shields finally gave way, exposing its vulnerable hull to the full might of the Indomitable's weapons. The human ship pressed its advantage, unleashing a barrage of missiles and energy beams that tore through the enemy vessel's armor. The Krell ship shuddered under the onslaught, its systems failing one by one. Explosions ripped through its hull, sending debris and shattered metal spinning into the void of space. The Krell commander, realizing that defeat was imminent, let out a roar of defiance before his ship erupted in a blinding flash of light. On the bridge of the Indomitable, the crew erupted in cheers as they watched the Krell ship disintegrate before their eyes. They had done the impossible, defeating an enemy that had seemed invincible. Emma sagged back in her chair, relief and exhaustion washing over her in equal measure. She knew that the battle had been won, but the war was far from over. The Krell would undoubtedly return, seeking revenge for their defeat. But for now, the human crew could take a moment to catch their breath, to revel in the knowledge that they had made a difference. They had shown the galaxy the true strength of the human spirit, the indomitable will that refused to yield in the face of adversity. As the Indomitable moved to assist the surviving Velaran ships, Emma couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in her crew. They had faced an enemy that had seemed unstoppable, and they had emerged victorious. But she also knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult. The Krell would not take their defeat lightly, and they would undoubtedly return with even greater force. The humans would need to be ready, to stand united in the face of whatever challenges lay ahead. As the Indomitable set course for the Velaran homeworld, ready to assist in the rebuilding efforts, Emma knew that the true test of human resilience and courage was yet to come. But she also knew that with the strength and determination of her crew, and the unwavering support of the Velaran Confederacy, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. For in the face of adversity, the human spirit had always proven itself to be unbreakable. And with the Indomitable leading the charge, the galaxy would soon learn the true power of human resolve and ingenuity. The battle against the Krell had been won, but the war was far from over. The humans had shown that they were a force to be reckoned with, a species that would not back down in the face of even the greatest of threats. And as the Indomitable sailed through the stars, its crew ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, the galaxy watched in awe, knowing that a new power had emerged, a power that would shape the future of the universe itself. In the aftermath of the battle against the Krell, the USS Indomitable and its crew found themselves hailed as heroes by the Velaran Confederacy. The humans had done what no other species had been able to do. They had defeated the Krell and saved countless lives in the process. As the Indomitable docked at the Velaran homeworld, the crew was greeted by cheering crowds and grateful dignitaries. Ambassador Mayala, her eyes filled with tears of joy, personally welcomed Captain Emma Johnson and her crew, expressing the deep gratitude of the entire Velaran species. "You have done the impossible," Mayala said, her voice trembling with emotion. "You have given us hope when we had none, and you have shown us the true strength of the human spirit. We will never forget what you have done for us." Emma, humbled by the outpouring of gratitude, simply nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. She knew that the victory had come at a great cost, with many brave men and women laying down their lives to protect the innocent. As the days passed, the Indomitable and its crew worked tirelessly to assist the Velarans in rebuilding their shattered worlds. The humans used their advanced technology and knowledge to help repair damaged infrastructure, provide medical aid to the injured, and help the Velarans recover from the devastating attack. But even as the Velarans began to heal, the specter of the Krell loomed large over the galaxy. The humans knew that the enemy would not simply disappear, and that they would need to be vigilant in order to protect the fragile peace that had been won. Back on Earth, news of the Indomitable's victory spread like wildfire. The people of Earth celebrated their heroes, marveling at the bravery and skill of the men and women who had risked everything to defend the innocent. But the celebration was tinged with a sense of unease, as the people of Earth began to realize the magnitude of the threat that lay beyond their own solar system. They knew that the Krell were just one of many dangers that lurked in the vastness of space, and that humanity would need to be ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the weeks turned into months, the Indomitable and its crew continued to work with the Velarans, helping them to rebuild and strengthen their defenses. The humans shared their knowledge and technology with their new allies, forging bonds of friendship and trust that would last for generations. But even as the galaxy began to heal, the threat of the Krell remained ever present. The humans knew that they would need to be ready to face the enemy again, to stand united in the face of whatever challenges lay ahead. And so, the Indomitable and its crew continued to train, to hone their skills and prepare for the battles that were sure to come. They knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, but they also knew that they had the strength and determination to see it through. As the Indomitable set out on its next mission, ready to explore the vast reaches of space and defend the innocent wherever they may be, the people of Earth watched with pride and hope. They knew that their heroes would never back down, that they would always stand tall in the face of adversity. And as the ship disappeared into the vastness of space, the people of Earth knew that they were not alone. They had allies in the Velaran Confederacy, and they had the indomitable human spirit to guide them through whatever challenges lay ahead. The battle against the Krell had been won, but the war was far from over. The humans had shown that they were a force to be reckoned with, a species that would not back down in the face of even the greatest of threats. And as the Indomitable sailed through the stars, its crew ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, the galaxy watched in awe, knowing that a new power had emerged, a power that would shape the future of the universe itself. For in the face of adversity, the human spirit had always proven itself to be unbreakable. And with the Indomitable leading the charge, the galaxy would soon learn the true power of human resilience and courage. The Velaran Confederacy would never forget the sacrifice of the brave men and women who had laid down their lives to defend them. They would honor their memory, and they would strive to live up to the example that the humans had set. And as the people of Earth looked to the stars, they knew that they were not alone. They had friends in the galaxy, allies who would stand with them in the face of whatever challenges lay ahead. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: the human spirit would never be broken, and the Indomitable would always be there to defend the innocent and protect the weak. And so, the story of the Indomitable and its crew would be told for generations to come, a testament to the strength and courage of the human race, and a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope.